Okay, so here we go. House Bill 872. Who's got that? Oh, Healy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. House Bill 872 is a bi-county bill for WSSC. It's an emergency bill that authorizes WSSC to contract with the District of Columbia or the District of Columbia Water and Sewer Authority for the construction, maintenance, and operation of water supply, sewer, or drainage system by the by the district or the District of Columbia Water and Sewer Authority to serve a border property. This bill is supported by both delegations, and I move the bill.
And it's straight favorable?
No, there are amendments.
Oh, there are amendments.
The first amendment is technical. The second defines a border property for the purposes of the bill and makes conforming changes, adds to and clarifies the required elements that must be included in a contract entered into between WSSC and DC or the District of Columbia Water and Sewer Authority, provides for prospective application of the bill's provisions, and sunsets the bill after 5 years. Move the amendments.
Okay, is there a second for the, okay, any discussion on the amendments? Hearing none, we'll proceed to a vote on the amendments. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes seem to have it. The ayes have it. Bill's before us is amended. Is there a second? Okay, any discussion on the bill as amended? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The bill passes unanimously. House Bill 873, and I think that's Healy.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes. This is also a WSSC bill. It's a bi-county bill, Montgomery and Prince George's delegations. It has amendments. As amended, the bill requires at least one Washington Suburban Sanitary Commission commissioner appointed from Prince George's County to meet specific qualifications. The committee amendments are as follows. Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 limits the application of the bill's provisions to Prince George's County, alters and adds to the methods by which an individual may be qualified to serve as a commissioner, strikes the grant of additional voting powers to the general manager of WSSC. Move the amendments.
Okay, and is there a second? Okay, any discussion on the amendments? Seeing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor of the amendments signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes seem to have it. The ayes have it. The bill's before us as amended. Is there a second? Any discussion on this local bill? None? All right, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Abstentions, the bill carries unanimously. Senate Bill 11, Delegate Love.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senate Bill 11 generally requires a school zone to, 1, be adjacent to a school, and 2, not exceed 500 feet approaching or beyond the school building or school grounds. SB 11 was voted unfavorable in committee.
Okay. Motion and second for an unfavorable. Any discussion on this unfavorable motion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor of the unfavorable motion of the subcommittee signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Delegate Ruth is opposed. Anyone else opposed? Would anyone like to abstain? The unfavorable motion carries. Senate Bill 102, who's got that? Regina? Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. SB 102 is a straight favorable. It is in the same posture as HB 465 that we voted out of the committee. Move the favorable.
Okay, is there a second? Okay. Any discussion? Are there amendments? Okay.
Oh, I do apologize. I'm sorry, I moved too fast. So let's go back. Oh, yes, it's a committee amendment. It authorizes the use of hand lines or dip nets. I forget we did have that. So we're conforming it, if I'm correct, Patrick? Yes. Conforming it to the House version.
Okay, is there a second? Any discussion on the conforming amendment? Seeing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes seem to have it. The ayes have it. The bill is before us as amended. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on this bill? Seeing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The bill carries unanimously. Senate Bill 157. Delegate Healy.
Thank you very much. Senate Bill 157, the motion is favorable with amendments. The bill modifies the manner in which a chief executive officer of a municipality may deliver charter amendment notices by authorizing the publishing of a fair summary of the proposed amendment in a newspaper of general circulation in the municipality at least once, and delivering a copy of a fair summary of the proposed charter amendment by hand or by mail once to every resident in the municipality as specified. Additionally, the bill as amended by the Senate requires notice of a municipal charter amendment initiated by a petition of qualified voters to be posted at the main municipal building or other public place for at least 40 days instead of 4 weeks, immediately before the charter amendment referendum is held. The committee amendment is technical and corrects a drafting error. Move the amendments.
Okay, on the amendments, any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All those, is there a second on the amendments? Okay.
It's a technical amendment.
All right, now we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed,
Aye.
no. The ayes seem to have it. The ayes have it. The bill's before us is amended. Is there a second? Okay, any discussion on this bill? We'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The bill carries unanimously in the committee. Senate Bill 249.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senate Bill 249 requires the MVA to include in the standardized driver education program curriculum information on the laws relating to and the risks of driving while under the influence of cannabis or alcohol. This bill came out unfavorable for the sole reason that MVA already does this. It's Unit 9. The entire subcommittee agrees that this is important. It is already being done, and as a result, we voted unfavorable.
Yeah, is there a second for the unfavorable? Okay, one other thing, Delegate, I mean, also, were you able to find many examples of where the legislature micromanages curriculum like this?
Mr. Chair, this would have been the only instance on the MVA that I saw where it would have told MVA how to write the driver's ed.
Okay, so it would have created a precedent. So, okay, the motion is unfavorable. Any discussion, any further discussion on the unfavorable motion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Delegate Stewart is opposed. Anyone else? Yeah, you got to keep peace in District 19. That's right, fought like a tiger. Okay, the motion unfavorable carries. Senate Bill 260, I have to tell you a funny story. Years and years ago, we were in Economic Matters, and Hattie Harrison had this bill, and she says, I have to vote for this bill, but none of you do. But Mr. Chairman, can you give me at least 5 votes to make it look good? And you go, okay, you and you and you and you, and fought like a tiger. So, okay, Senate Bill 262, Delegate Stein.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill deals with on-farm composting facilities. It's the cross-file of House Bill 253. The bill was crossed over in slightly different forms. The Senate conformed the House bill to the Senate version, which is supported by both MDE and the House sponsor. There are no amendments for the Senate bill, so I move a straight favorable.
Is there a second? Okay, Delegate Ciliberti.
Well, I just want to know if she got the 5 votes.
Yes, she got, it was either 5 or 6. Cass Taylor said you and you and you and you, and he says, and I'll even have some Democrats and Republicans to make it look good. Okay. All right. We have to vote. All those in favor of Senate Bill 262 signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Bill carries unanimously. Senate Bill 327, who's got that?
Motion to reconsider this one.
Oh, this is a motion to reconsider?
Yeah, because we voted it yesterday and we found out there was a difference.
Oh, okay. The motion on this bill is a motion to reconsider the vote that we made previously. Apparently, there is a technical amendment, right, that we have
Yes.
to add to it. So the motion is to reconsider the vote from yesterday. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion to reconsider the previous vote signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? So we'll just vote this the next time we have a voting session, right? Or do you have the amendment now? Oh, you've got it now. Okay, well, go ahead then.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. And just to say that the bill, the House and Senate bills were the same as we sent over the same amendments that the House had put on. Upon looking at it, there was one very small difference in that where we struck all the language about state parks and being used for rotating hunting. Half that kind of provision was shut off on or struck in the Senate version. So we are amending the bill so it does strike language that includes state park system lands in a certain hunting study.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, any discussion on that amendment? So I take it that the word "not" is still in the bill in the key place.
Yeah, that key provision is done. No Sunday.
Okay, all those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the bill is before us as amended. Is there a second? Okay. All those in, and there's no discussion on the bill as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The bill passes unanimously. Senate Bill 407, Vice Chairman of the Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This emergency bill establishes the indirect potable reuse pilot program within MDE. This bill is identical to House Bill 848 as passed by the House. Move favorable. No amendments.
Okay, straight favorable. Is there a second? Okay, any discussion on this bill? Hearing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Delegate Terraza is opposed. Anyone want to abstain? Okay, the bill passes. House, what? Gotta live on the edge. Gotta live on the edge. Okay, Senate Bill 422. Who's got that? Is that Regina? Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Favorable with the amendment. SB 422 conforms to HB 696 and establishes a Black Bass Conservation Fund. Committee amendments provides for the investment in interest earnings of the fund. Move the amendment.
Okay, is there a second for the amendment? Okay, any discussion on the amendment to the bill? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay, the amendment carries. The bill's before us is amended. Is there a second? Okay, on the Black Bass Conservation Fund bill, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The bill carries unanimously. Senate Bill 524. Healy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a local Garrett County bill, and this is the Senate version, and it's slightly different from the House, and the House bill is, both sides have agreed to take the Senate version. The bill requires Garrett County Commissioners to hold public meetings in person or through live video streaming at least twice a month. The bill also prohibits the Garrett County Commissioners from meeting solely through live video streaming for more than 2 consecutive meetings in the absence of a formal declaration of emergency. The amendments conform the House bill. The amendments to the House bill conform the House bill to the Senate bill. The Senate bill reflects the revised position of the House and Senate delegations on how the meeting shall be streamed using live video streaming. That's it. Move the bill. Favorable, no amendments.
Okay, it's a straight favorable. Is there a second? Okay, any discussion on this bill? Seeing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The bill passes unanimously. Senate Bill 545. Delegate Love.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senate Bill 545 alters the hours during which a person in possession of a vehicle that has been towed or removed from a parking lot is required to provide an opportunity for the vehicle owner to retake possession of the vehicle to, at a minimum, 6 a.m. to midnight rather than 24 hours per day. This is same as legislation this House has passed in 2021 and 2020. The motion is straight favorable.
Okay. Any discussion on this bill? Nope. Okay, we'll go to a vote. All those in favor of Senate Bill 545 signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, we've got some opposition here. We've got Jacobs, Otto, Siliberti, Naraki, Morgan, Addison, and Terry Baker. So the Republicans and Addison. There's a coalition for you. There's a coalition. Yeah, no. Okay. Hey, you're right. Okay, the bill passes. What is it? It's 16 to 7. Okay, Senate Bill 611. Vice Chair.
Mr. Chairman, this bill is the cross-file of House Bill 874. Both bills crossed over in the same form, but the bills need an amendment to change references to director to chief counsel and to modify the reporting requirement. The Senate committee adopted the same amendments to the House cross-file. Move the amendments.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on the amendments? Seeing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor of the amendments signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The amendments carry. The bill's before us is amended. Is there a second? Okay, any discussion on the bill as amended? If not, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Okay, so we've got Jacobs, Otto, Naraki, Morgan, Baker. Okay, Morgan's voting in favor. Oh, and Siliberti is voting against. So it's the Republicans and the Democrats and one rhino. No, just joking. Just joking, joking. Oh yeah, God, I gotta remember this is actually being recorded. I'm so sorry I said that. I'm filled with shame. Okay.
Check the nose on that one. Check the nose on that one.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's
The no.
Jacobs, Otto,
So
Rocky, and Baker.
Siliberti voted no, correct? Yes. And Naraki and Baker. Right, okay. Senate Bill 679, Delegate Love.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senate Bill 679 authorizes the placement of speed monitoring systems in Anne Arundel County on highways and residential districts with a maximum posted speed limit of 35 miles per hour. This is the cross-file of HB 710 that we have previously passed out. The motion is straight favorable.
Okay, any discussion on this bill? Seeing none, this is basically like the way the law is in Montgomery and where else? Prince George's, okay. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Who's opposed? We have the Republic, oh no, not all the Republicans. So Jacobs, Otto, Siliberti, Naraki, Baker, and Davis. I know, it's great. It just gives me a warm, fuzzy feeling. Okay, so the bill carries 17 to 6. Okay, Senate Bill 685, Delegate Love.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senate Bill 685 authorizes an autonomous vehicle converter to sell, transfer, lease, offer for sale, or resell without obtaining a vehicle dealer's license, a converted autonomous vehicle or motor vehicle purchased by an autonomous vehicle converter with the intent to convert the motor vehicle into a converted autonomous vehicle. Try saying that one 5 times fast.
Yeah.
It is in the same posture as HB 806 that this committee has previously voted out. The motion is favorable.
Okay, straight favorable and a second. Any discussion on this bill? Okay, seeing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The bill carries unanimously. Senate Bill 693, Love.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senate Bill 693 requires the MTA to submit an annual report on assaults on MTA, WMATA, and local public transit operators, including specified information by December 1, 2023, and each year thereafter. This is in the same posture as HB 1049, which this committee previously voted out. The motion is favorable.
Okay, any discussion on this bill? Seeing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The bill carries unanimously. Senate Bill 880. Stein.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill deals with the Baltimore Regional Water Governance Task Force. SB 880 is the cross-file of HB 843. The bills crossed over in slightly different forms. The Senate bill adopted general intent language that was not adopted in the House bill. The Senate bill expresses intent that the task force strengthen the governance of the Baltimore region's water and wastewater utility as a public asset. We have an amendment that strikes language that would have required the utility to be managed and operated by local government. The Senate has adopted a conforming amendment to the House bill. Move the amendment.
Okay, on the amendment, any discussion? Delegate Ruth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the amendment removes managed and operated?
That's correct.
And so what guardrail, I mean, I guess this is just an intent language anyway, but I'm just concerned that removing that just opens the door for privatization, which the Senate amendment was supposed to.
Delegate, we still have the language about ownership being public, but in terms of management and operation, the sentiment, and this reflects both Baltimore County and Baltimore City, was that they didn't want to restrict the options that the task force would consider by saying they couldn't be managed or operated by a third party, such as maybe a WSSC situation, where again the ownership is still public, but the operation management might be contracted out to a third party, maybe, I'm just saying hypothetically, maybe even state government. So that's the reason why that manage and operation language was taken out.
Yeah, and let me add to what he says. For example, in Montgomery County, everybody hates the incinerator at Dickerson, but it's owned by the Montgomery County government and managed by private companies. So that, so people like to get mad at the private management company, but really if you want to get mad at somebody, it's the Montgomery County government because they own the facility. And next, do you have anything else you want to say?
If it's okay, Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying, and managing and operating are two different things. Managing implies some decision-making, and I know, for example, with the conduits in Baltimore City, that there was concerns about BG&E being the decision-making authority there, and I'm just concerned about this, opening a door where water is, a real public good. So, thank you.
Okay, next question or issue, Delegate Foley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So my understanding is that there was an amendment to the House bill in the Senate. Does this include that amendment as well?
As modified. Initially, the Senate added language that said, intent language that also said that the facilities were to be managed and operated by local government. But we are taking that out, and my understanding, Kristen, correct me, is that the Senate has adopted that language as well.
Yeah, I'm right here behind you. Yeah, the Senate's adopting the same language. The language that came over on the Senate bill was not included in the House bill. The Senate has since amended or plans to amend the House bill, and by this committee striking some language in the Senate bill, then the bills will both conform.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I think I understand. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Delegate Long.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I intend to support the bill. I know I'm not from Baltimore County. I just wanted to go on record for saying I knew that there were conversations surrounding adding members from labor to the board, and so I knew that, of course, did not happen, but I just wish that would have been taken into further consideration, though. Just wanted to put that for the record, referencing labor.
Okay. Delegate Boyce.
Thank you so much, and happy to speak as someone who represents Baltimore City and who the asset belongs to. This is a task force, and I guess I'd like some clarifying questions, because there seems to be a thought that in investigating all options, or being able to open it up to find out how we improve the asset, that somehow that automatically means that as soon as the task force is finished and there are recommendations, that those recommendations have to be considered or must be mandated. Can that be clarified?
I'll defer to Kristen. I don't have the actual bill right in front of me, but I don't believe there's any language that says that it has to be taken up legislatively by either jurisdiction or by the General Assembly.
That's correct.
Thank you so much. And I also want to clarify that this morning on the delegation, we also conformed our House version as well to the Senate version. Thank you.
Okay. Delegate Terrazza.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to echo the concerns of Delegate Ruth and Delegate Long, but I support the bill.
Okay. Okay, so on the, Delegate Lehman.
Yeah, can we go back over, or so has the House bill been conformed to the Senate bill and vice versa? What is the answer to the question about the House amendment that was taken up in the Senate?
It's currently been reported to the floor with the amendment, with a conforming amendment that's being discussed right now. The House bill has been laid over on the Senate floor, so it's been reported out by the committee. No, with the amendment that, okay, so let me read the big way the bill came over. So the Senate bill, this is on the Senate
Can
bill.
she sit at a microphone?
Sure.
Yeah,
Thank you.
there we go.
The language, this is from the Senate bill as it crossed over. It added general intent language that the task force strengthen the governance of the Baltimore region's water and wastewater utility as a public asset managed and operated by local government. What is being discussed here is to strike the words managed and operated by local government. The Senate added, the first portion of the amendment to the House bill. They did not include the language managed and operated by local government, just the general intent language that it be maintained as a public asset. The bills they crossed over in different forms, so the amendments that they're going to have are going to be different amendments, but the amendments are intended to conform the language. The language will end up being identical.
Mr. Chairman, if I can add.
It just doesn't sound like that based on your description. It doesn't sound identical.
Well, they have to have, so I guess, I apologize for not being clear, but when bills are in different forms, they're going to need different language to make them the same, because they didn't have the same language to begin with. So their amendments are going to slightly different when you read them out loud, but the printing of the bills, like if you looked at a reprint, they would be identical, because then those amendments would be incorporated, and so the language would change in the same way, but they'll need different amendments to get there,
Okay.
because they're not the same bill.
So does it really help to read what the end result might be? Maybe that's a confusion.
Sure. So the end result, the language that's being discussed now and the language that was added to the House bill. It is the intent of the General Assembly that the task force strengthen the governance of the Baltimore region water and wastewater utility as a public asset, period.
And that's what both would be.
Both the bills have that.
I still don't understand when or where the managing and operating part came out and why. I mean,
That's
is
an
that
amendment.
considered too, I don't know, too much like micromanaging, too in the weeds? Why was that taken out and where?
Yeah, Delegate, after the amendment was put onto the Senate bill, which included the language that the utility be managed and operated by local government, I heard from Baltimore County government, who had also consulted with the mayor, that they did not want they were fine with the language establishing that the utility shall be a public asset, is a public asset. That's fine. That's not going to be privatized.
Right.
However, in terms of it, they preferred that the language concerning management and operation by local government come out because they wanted the task force to consider all possibilities and not be restricted to a scenario in which the operation continues to be with Baltimore City government. This reflects a request from Baltimore City and Baltimore County that the requirement that the utility be operated and managed by local government, that language come out.
Okay, just one final question, Mr. Chair. Did I hear Delegate Boyce say that both Baltimore City and Baltimore County agreed with that? What Delegate Stein just said about taking out the operated and managed?
Because the bill came out here, as I understand it, with no amendments, and it went over. And then it was amended, and then their bill came over, but because the delegation approved what originally went over, we have to reapprove the new amendments.
And you
So we
did?
conformed it to the Senate version this morning.
Your
on our
delegation approved the new amendments?
Yes, this morning.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Delegate Naraki.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just, I'm going to support the bill, but I want to echo the concerns that I had on the House bill as well. Just for the record, I'm still concerned that the composition is not equal between Baltimore County and Baltimore City on this task force. Still going to support the bill. I still think it moves the ball forward, but I wish that there was an equal footing there on the task force.
Okay. Delegate Ruth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to clarify to Delegate Lehman's question that the Baltimore County delegation has not voted on this at all. The Baltimore County government supports it, as I understand, but the delegation did not vote on it. So I just wanted to clarify that. And I do understand the concern about it being limiting, and I think if it had never said managed and operated, I probably would never have noticed, but the fact of removing it is just a little bit concerning. So I'm probably going to vote against the amendment, but I'll definitely support the bill. Thank you.
Terraza.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And that's what I was just trying to straighten out, because I will probably do the same thing as Delegate Ruth, is vote against the amendment. If what we're doing right here is taking out that managed and operated by local government, that's what we are doing now. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, let me just say something. Again, I gave the example of Montgomery County, but there are some, I mean, I don't want to tell Baltimore City and Baltimore County how ultimately they fix this, horrible decades-long problem that they've had. So on the amendment, is there a second? Any further discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, we'll go to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, everybody who's in favor of the amendment, raise your hand. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 opposed. Yeah, so the amendment carries. So, all right, the bill is before us as amended. Any further discussion on the bill? Let's proceed to a vote. All those in favor of the bill signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, Delegate Siliberti, do you wish to abstain? You want to abstain? Okay. So the bill does not pass unanimously, but almost. Okay, so next is Senate Bill 335, Delegate Holmes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Going on to something uncomplicated. Senate Bill 335 is a bill that authorizes a county or municipality to execute and record a restrictive covenant modification or an unlawful restrictive covenant if the subject property is within the boundaries of the county municipality and specified notice requirement is satisfied. SB 335 is the same as HB 182, of which we passed out of this committee, and it was passed unanimously 134 to 0 on the House floor.
You probably should have led with that.
So all of you have already voted for this once. There are no amendments, Mr. Chair. Move favorable.
Any discussion on this very simple little bill that everyone understands because it's so simple? Okay, no discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The bill carries unanimously. Senate Bill 651.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senate Bill 651, the bill requires a real estate broker or an escrow agent to distribute trust money to purchasers. If the purchaser terminates a residential real estate sale contract under the terms of a contingency clause, after a written notice or request or return money is provided by the holder of the trust money and the seller and the specified procedures are satisfied. There are no amendments to this bill, SB 651, Mr. Chair. I move favorable on the bill.
Is there a second? Second. So this is that bill where everybody supported it excepting for the real property section of the SB, of State Bar Association, right?
Well, the only thing, though, Mr. Chair, is that
I'm sorry, and the Maryland Land Title Association.
the State Bar Association did not offer any amendments. Okay, so you gotta beef.
So they're
write something
they're
down.
complaining and trying to take their bat and ball and go home.
I think Matt's got it.
Oh, okay. Apparently the real property, the land title?
Land title did not.
Land title didn't, real property section of the Bar Association did, but those amendments were rejected by the Senate apparently. And then they passed the bill almost unanimously,
Yes,
right?
they passed. I don't have the number here in front.
No,
of
it was like a 47-0 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. When you don't read bills, that, okay.
Move favorable, Mr. Chair.
Okay. All those in favor of Senate Bill 651 signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The bill carries unanimously. And finally, House Bill 1235.
House Bill 12.
You? Okay.
House Bill 1235, Mr. Chair, is exactly as I read to you a couple of moments ago. This is the cross-file from the good Delegate Wells. This bill is the same posture as HB 651, as already indicated, that we already voted out. Move favorable, Mr. Chair. There are no amendments.
Second.
Any discussion on this wonderful piece of legislation? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The bill carries unanimously, and that does it for our voting list. Good work, people, and good debate on that one bill. And announcements.
Yes, Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
Since I have the mic already open. Housing and Road Property will meet sometime on Monday. Keep your ears open, and congratulations to Mary Lehman.
Oh, yes, good job on the floor. Defending our pooch friends. Delegate Stein.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Environment Subcommittee will meet virtually at 2:40.
2:40, okay. Stewart.
Mr. Chairman, moment in history.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Colleagues, it has been 23 years since the Loyola Dons defeated their rival, the St. Paul's Crusaders, 9-0. The pitcher actually threw a no-hitter, but one of our colleagues hit a solo homer in that game for the Dons, helping to lead them to a tremendous victory. So if everyone could put their hands together for Delegate Ryan Naraki.
All right. Okay, Regina, do you have an announcement?
Yes, Natural Resources will meet after the Environment. The subcommittee chair will throw me a text when he's done, and then I will send out the message to let us know we're going to get started. We have 3 bills to discuss.
Okay, and for those of you who are not on those subcommittees, you're free to go. Have a great weekend. And for those of you who are, what's that? Oh, okay. And for those of you who are stuck, I don't leave until everybody leaves. So, yeah, Delegate Jacobs.
So, Delegate Stein, do you have a rough idea about how long you will be, just in case some of us may want to eat lunch or something, you know?
You can eat lunch in a virtual meeting, unlike
No, but I
eating
mean,
here.
if you don't have your lunch and you got to go get it.
Oh, yeah.
And And natural resources is gonna follow environment. I'm just trying to get a little time frame there, that's all.
Would it be better if we gave a little bit more time before we started?
No, I don't care about that. I'm just,
I'd say 30 minutes if I had to guess.
about 30 minutes. Okay.
Okay. All right, any other announcements or historical notations? If not, we're adjourned.